Willie Nelson's story begins in the small farming town of Abbott, Texas, where he was born on April 29, 1933. Life there was simple but often difficult, especially during the lingering hardships of the Great Depression. When Willie was still an infant, his parents left, and he and his sister Bobby were raised by their grandparents, Alfred and Nancy Nelson. Though the household had little money, it was filled with faith, discipline, and music. Nancy ordered songbooks from the Sears catalog and encouraged both children to learn music early. At just 6 years old, Willie received his first guitar, an instrument that would become his lifelong companion. Growing up without his parents left a quiet ache in his childhood, but music became a place where he could express feelings he didn't yet have words for. In the quiet fields of rural Texas, a shy boy discovered the power of melody and storytelling. Early music and hard work. As a child and teenager, Willie balanced school, farm work, and music. Summers were spent picking cotton and working long hours in the fields, experiences that taught him resilience and humility. Yet music was always present. By the age of 9, he was already playing guitar in local bands and earning small amounts of money performing at dances and gatherings. At 10, he began writing his own songs, filling notebooks with lyrics far beyond his years. Church hymns, country radio broadcasts, and blues drifting from nearby venues all shaped his musical style. While school never fully captured his attention, songwriting did. It became the place where his imagination lived. Abbott was small, but it exposed him to real stories, hard work, love, heartbreak, and perseverance. These themes would later become the foundation of his music and would resonate deeply with listeners across America. Searching for direction. After graduating from high school in 1950, Willie left Abbott looking for a future that felt uncertain but promising. Like many young men of his generation, he joined the U.S. Air Force, hoping it would provide structure and opportunity. Unfortunately, a back injury forced him to leave the service early. Returning to Texas, he took a series of jobs simply to make ends meet. He sold Bibles door to door, worked as a plumber's assistant, pumped gas, and even sold vacuum cleaners. None of these jobs felt like a true calling, but they kept him moving forward. Through all of this, music never disappeared. He played small venues, honky-tonks, and local radio shows whenever he could. These performances weren't glamorous, but they allowed him to sharpen his skills and connect with audiences. Slowly, he began to realize that music wasn't just something he loved, it was the only path that truly felt like his. Struggles in early family life. During these early years, Willie also began building a family. In 1952, he married Martha Matthews, and together they had 3 children. Like many young couples facing financial struggles, their marriage experienced tension. Willie was often away pursuing music, and the pressures of daily life weighed heavily on both of them. Eventually, the relationship ended in divorce. The experience was painful and complicated, leaving emotional scars that would influence his songwriting for years. Many of Willie's later songs about love, regret, and reflection carry traces of these early struggles. Though he always cared deeply for his children, he later admitted that balancing family life and a music career was difficult. These challenges taught him lessons about responsibility, growth, and understanding, lessons that would continue shaping him long after those early years had passed. A gift for songwriting. While his personal life faced challenges, Willie's songwriting began to gain attention. He wrote constantly, often late at night, turning everyday experiences into powerful lyrics. Some of his early compositions would later become country music classics. Songs like Funny How Time Slips Away, Hello Walls, and Crazy demonstrated his remarkable ability to capture emotion in simple, heartfelt words. One of the most famous recordings of Crazy was performed by the legendary country singer Patsy Cline. Though the song became incredibly successful, Willie received only a small payment for it at the time. Situations like this were common for young songwriters without industry power. Still, his reputation as a gifted writer grew steadily. Even when he struggled financially, he continued writing because he believed deeply in the value of his music. A new beginning in Texas. Everything changed in the early 1970s when Willie decided to leave Nashville and return to Texas. After a house fire destroyed many of his belongings, he began reconsidering the direction of his life and career. Moving to Austin placed him in the middle of a vibrant music scene where rock, folk, and country blended freely. Younger audiences embraced authenticity and originality, qualities Willie had always valued. Performing in venues like the famous Armadillo World headquarters, he found listeners who loved his natural sound and storytelling style. This environment allowed him to experiment creatively without pressure to fit industry expectations. Gradually, he became one of the leaders of what came to be known as the Outlaw country movement, a style that celebrated artistic freedom and personal expression. Breakthrough success. Willie's artistic independence soon led to major success. Albums such as Shotgun Willie and Phases and Stages began attracting attention from critics and fans alike. In 1975, he released Red-Headed Stranger, an album that would change his career forever. Its simple production and powerful storytelling stood in contrast to the heavily arranged records popular at the time. The song Blue Eyes Crying in the Rain became his first #1 hit as a singer. Soon afterward, the collaborative album Wanted. The Outlaws, featuring artists like Waylon Jennings, became the first country album to sell more than 1 million copies. After years of struggle, Willie had finally found the audience that truly understood his music. The industry that once doubted him now recognized his influence and originality. Loss, friendship, and reflection. As the years passed, Willie also experienced the sadness of losing close friends and loved ones. One of the deepest losses came when his son Billy passed away in 1991. The grief was profound and personal. Willie rarely spoke publicly about it, choosing instead to carry those emotions quietly. He also mourned the passing of longtime friend and collaborator Waylon Jennings in 2002 and fellow country legend Merle Haggard in 2016. These relationships had been built over decades of shared music and memories. Through these experiences, Willie's songs gained even greater depth and sincerity. His performances began to feel less like entertainment and more like conversations about life, memory, and the passage of time. A life of family and purpose. In his later years, Willie found stability and happiness with his wife, Annie D'Angelo. Their marriage brought a sense of balance that had been missing during earlier chapters of his life. Together they raised 2 sons, Lucas and Micah, both of whom followed musical paths of their own. Performing alongside his children became one of Willie's greatest joys. Beyond music, he also dedicated energy to causes he believed in. In 1985, he helped launch Farm Aid alongside artists such as Neil Young and John Mellencamp. The annual concerts raised millions of dollars to support American family farmers. Willie's commitment to helping rural communities reflected the values he learned growing up in small-town Texas. The legacy of authenticity today. Willie Nelson stands as one of the most respected figures in American music. With hundreds of albums, decades of performances, and countless beloved songs, his influence stretches across generations. Yet what makes his story remarkable is not just the success. It is the authenticity behind it. He never tried to become someone else to satisfy trends or expectations. Instead, he trusted his voice, his stories, and the simple honesty of his music. Fans continue to gather at concerts where, during certain songs, the crowd grows quiet and attentive. In those moments, people recognize something genuine, a voice sharing truth about love, loss, time, and hope. That connection is Willie Nelson's greatest achievement, proof that a life lived honestly can create music that lasts forever.